This conference.
Okay, so 1 second.
This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, I'm seeing few people
This
started.
conference will now be recorded.
I'll share my screen. So our agenda is to see, today sort of as a demo session and little bit of first day of our classes. I see a lot of new faces, so we'll just go for demo, little bit of it, so that is a recap for everyone, right? So can everyone see my screen? Can you please confirm once?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. So here we are going to learn about performance testing, especially a tool called LoadRunner. And what is performance testing? What is LoadRunner? We are going to see here. So before going to performance testing, we need to first see where actually the performance testing comes into picture and why we need it. For every application development or for every object, every product development, for example, car is a product, right? So every product development, there will be a life cycle, means there will be a starting point, there will be a middle, semi climax, and you can say the end point, right? So how every product will be developed, it's just an idea. We'll put it in the paper. We'll gather all the requirements. For example, if you take a car example, what type of car we need to manufacture? Luxury car, semi-luxury, for mileage purpose, what kind of colors we need to do it, all this, what kind of engine, CC, everything, right? So then we're going to plan it. Means where we get, for example, where we get the tires from, where we get the engine from, where we get the doors from, and where we going to assemble and who are going to work on it, who are the designers, who are the manufacturers, everything. Then we'll start designing and building the things. Means we start putting the wheels together,
হবে না
engine together.
join
Yeah,
করো
sorry.
sorry
Yeah, I mean post. Yeah, thank you. So building together these things, then we'll be testing it. So how we'll test the cars? You might have seen in a lot of videos that a crash test dummy will be used, and crash testing will be done to check the rating of this. Especially in India, Tata is the five-star rating company, right? As you know, a few other cars are there where we have zero rating. We don't talk about that, but Tata is very powerful, safety car. Then we'll be deploying it. What is meant by deployment in real world car situation? That will, if you want to buy a car, you go to outlet, right? Ford outlet, Tata outlet, or any showroom example. They'll keep there. You need to, will see, and you will buy the product. So for whom they are manufacturing car? For the end user, like you and me. So similarly, all the in all the kind of steps, we will come in the coding testing phase. Will come in the testing phase. So as the one car will be, for example, it will be tested in different manners. Crash test is one of the thing, mileage test is one of the thing, and for example, all the info systems, all the tires is giving that kind of prolonged life of the tires. All these things will be tested. So now we don't bother about, we will bother about these things, but we'll expertise 95% of our work will come, we will do in the testing part. Okay, so now we'll just see why testing is needed and what are the different type of testing needed. I'll go very fast so that yesterday people they won't get bored a bit, as we discussed about the yesterday. So we have majorly, so we if we speak about software testing, there are mainly two kind of testings. One is functional testing. One is functional testing. One is non-functional testing. Can anyone tell me what are the testing types? Yesterday people who have heard done the class. Anyone tell me what kind of testing types we have in manual testing? Sorry, in functional testing? I gave one answer already. What type of testings we will see in functional testing? Manual testing and automation testing. Automation testing. So in non-functional testing, we'll be seeing about performance and security and other things. Performance testing and security testing. So what is manual testing? I'll give a I'll try to give a good example for it. For example, I'm there is an application called Facebook. Because why I'm using Facebook? Because I don't have Facebook, Amazon, everything. It will be immediately logged in. That's why I'm using Facebook. Yeah, okay. So now consider this application is under development. It's not available for you and me, like a general people. So it's under development. As I'm a tester, as a manual tester, what I'll do? As a manual tester, what I'll do? I'll enter username 123 or username Vamshi, password, password, password at the rate of 1234 something. Correct. I'll add them. So similarly, like login, we have different kind of functionalities, right? Search, there is this one functionality. My accounts, order status, purchasing, payment gateways. All these things are, kind of scenarios or kind of pages we are having. What manual tester do? He will enter these credentials and click on it and check whether he is able to log in or not. He's able to log in or not. Then what he will do, he will give correct details first time. Second time he will test a negative test case, means he will wantedly give wrong details and check whether he is able to log in or not. So if he gives wrong credentials, he should not log in. Correct, he should not log in. So as application is working or not as expected in the functionality wise, he will check. Okay, so what is login? I don't know. When connecting the class, I think I'm losing my network, but leave that aside. Yeah. So what is the functionality here? Login is the functionality. If there is a search bar, if you are typing phones, laptops, mobile phones, and clicking on search button, that is whether when you are searching it, whether all the products, when you are searching mobiles, is only the mobiles are showing, or only when you are searching laptops, or only laptops are showing. Is the functionality working properly or not? They'll check with single user. With single user. Same thing. For example, in automation testing, we'll have hundreds of username and passwords. They will hit all the 100 users at a time on the login button or the search button or logout button and see how whether this login button is able to log into everyone or not. They're checking at a time. Okay, that is automation testing. Manual testing, we don't use any tools, just for Zira, all these things for raise the tickets or raise the bugs and all. Automation testing will use tools like Selenium and other Cucumber, all the other stuff. So these comes under domain, functional testing domain. In software testing domain, we have functional testing domain. Now coming to performance. Performance is nothing but, as the name suggests, we will be checking the performance of the application. How? Similarly, we'll have hundreds of users, thousands of users. We will try to access the application. Now we are not testing the functionality. We are not checking whether we are able to log in or not. We should be able to log in. As the manual testing and functional automation testing is done, we are able to log in. Now we'll check for 100 people or for 1 lakh people, how fastly this this homepage is showing. Correct. If you see Facebook at the starting days, it was very slow. Now if you see, it will instantly log in. Even it in mobile tab, phone, Chrome, everything, it will load faster. Okay, so now we will be checking with 1 lakh users how fast for these 1 lakh users it is been performing. Okay, then security aspect, whether for example I'll give random username, random password, I should not log into some other accounts, right? That will also happen. We won't notice those things because we don't know about those concepts, but that will happen. Applications which have low security, no, so any username you keep, it will log in, then you can do whatever you want. So that also will be done, but we don't do about security. We'll do only performance. So all these, each of test is considered one domain. One domain means it's a field. It's entirely different field. Automation is a different field. Manual testing, it comes under functional. In non-functional, performance is a different field. Security is a different field. Like a lot of people are working in different domains. For example, in one performance testing team, depending on the project, we'll have 5 to 6 people, 10 people, working on the applications. So that is overall how the structure will be. So basically, what we'll do, then we'll go for performance testing lifecycle. Now, what we have done now, we have seen what is SDLC, software development lifecycle, and where we come, and as we have lifecycle for everything, performance also obviously we have. We'll start with the namings will be little bit different, but almost all the thing what we are doing is same. Okay, first requirements. What are the requirements I have? What are the, for example, what is the point we need to do? What kind of test we need to do, or is, for example, you are clients and I am the performance tester. Okay, what I'll ask you whether your application is live or not. Correct? Is your application e-commerce, banking application? What is your application? So like this, I'll be asking few questions. So that is called questionnaires, or identifying and analyzing non-functional requirements. That is the first part. Second part is test strategy and approach. So whatever the things I have gathered from you people, I will put it in a document, and I'll add few more things to strategize, plan, and give the approach of mine, so that all the testing process will be going in a smooth manner. So this kind of an agreement, or kind of a acceptance, or sign off from clients, so that we'll be agreeing. We should whatever we're discussing, we should put in one paper, right? So that there is no confusion in future. So for that, we'll be preparing strategy, approach, and these things, and we'll getting a sign off. Next, test design. So coming to test design, yesterday also we spoke about this. What is test design? I'll try to put it very briefly and in a fast way. We'll speak about a business flow, or a logic, or a the navigation flow. For example, in an application, what we'll do, we'll launch. What is launch? This is launch. We just, this is launch, or this is launch. We are coming from launch page to login page. This login page. Once I log in, what will happen? I'll go to home page. Correct. So similarly, I have launch page, login page, search. I'll do the searching. I'll be doing searching, because once I do this one, login page is the result. Once I do this one, what will happen? Home page will come. But in home page, I won't have any transaction. No, I should do something. So in that, in home page, I'll be doing search. So for search, so I'll be landing on page, then I'll be performing search. Then once I perform, what will happen? I'll see the results of the products, right? Laptop or mobile. Then I'll select it, select product. Then what I'll do? I will add to cart, then I'll purchase it, then I'll log out. So it's very important in performance testing. Once you are logging in, you should compulsory log out. Once you're logging in, you should compulsory log out. We'll see why in future. Okay. Okay. So consider this as a navigation flow. So we are navigating from launch to purchasing product and log out. So now, doing this manually, we'll do this manually, right? Same thing using tool called LoadRunner. We'll briefly go into what is LoadRunner and all. We'll see with some tools. Forget about LoadRunner. With some tools, we'll record it. We'll capture it or record it. Record these steps. Record these steps. Record these steps. That is called test design. So whatever manually we are doing, we are capturing it, and we are doing some kind of changes or enhancements, we'll call it as, those we'll be doing. So that in that design phase, we'll be doing this. In the execution of performance testing, what we'll do the testing here. So while using tool, In the decision phase, what with one, how many users will be using? We'll be using only single user. With single user of help, we'll try to capture. Then we'll move our design or whatever we have done to the execution phase. There, what we'll do with 1 lakh users, with 1 lakh users, or with 1k or 10k, how many number of users we need to test? We will be testing with this many number of users the same flow. Means in the performance execution, what if all these 10k people will do these actions continuously, for example, for 1 hour of duration, how the application performs? That is what happens in the big billion day, right? When you have offers or IGO, anything, this is what they will do. That we know of. This is one application we know of. There is Tatkal ticket booking. In 5-10 minutes, you will get a huge load. When you are seeing 10th results, UPSC results or group 1, group 2 results, you'll have high traffic there. Correct. So when you're purchasing IPL tickets, when you're purchasing movie tickets, you'll see this traffic, this kind of congestion. Why? Because all the people are trying to access the application at the same time, performing some actions. So replicating this using tools will be will be able to simulate the real user conditions. Means, what if the 10 people come in the real time, whether our application will be able to sustain this or not, will be going to check. That is overall what is performance testing. Okay. So why, sir, why we need to use tools? Why we can't test in other way? Means we can test in other ways. For example, I have yesterday we spoke about 1 lakh user example. Today we'll speak about 10k example. Okay. First thing, for me, so as a business owner, what it has done, there is a story here. I mean, I'm owner of Book My Show. Okay, everyone knows Book My Show, right? So what I have done last year, there is a movie called Triple R. It's released. 10k people try to book the tickets at a time. My application crashed. Okay, now I have built up the servers. I have all the infrastructure. I have everything. I have, but how can I make sure that now my system won't break with this 10k? So what I need to do? So what happens if I directly go to the live? What happens? All the people will come to book my show, and the book my show will crash. Then all will go to Paytm book there. What's happening here? There will be business loss. Once people see that this application is working slow, they won't come back. Getting the customers, they are giving advertisements, everything, right? Customer acquisition is difficult. Losing they can't lose the users because of performance. So what they will do? So what they need to do generally, before going to the live production, they need to hire 10k people, give 10k laptops or mobiles, and ask them to do these actions at a time. Is it possible? No, because 10k people you are hiring, 10k mobiles, it's not at all economically it's friendly. So with the help of tools, what we'll do, we'll simulate these real time users. We'll simulate these users similar to real time users. So what is the opposite of real time users? Virtual users. They are not real. So we'll simulate through virtual users. All this 10k user load will simulate and see how the application is performing. These 10k is called load users, threads, or concurrent users, or concurrent users. So this is why we are going to do performance testing and all this stuff, right? So any doubts until now? Okay, I'll take it as no. We'll go to the next step. Then obviously we have done our execution means test executions. Okay, performance testing or anything we can say. Then we'll get the results obviously. And what is the results that you can typically think of now? Basically, how fast the application ran, right? So you are correct. Those kind of results we'll collect and we'll analyze what's happening, what's not happening, why it's happening, and what is the root cause of, if there is any problem, what is the root cause, all these things, which page is performing very good, correct, which until which user count the application is able to sustain, all this stuff will be getting it. And feedback and corrections will give our recommendations as a testers, our feedback, our opinion, everything we'll tell them, so that they'll work on few things and they'll make the application ready if there are any issues. This is the whole story of non-performance testing life cycle. Okay. So any questions here, guys, before we go into next slide? Any questions? Okay. Thank you. So we'll go for the next slide. Ta-ta-ta. Okay. I hope you guys are taking notes. Yeah. So in SDLC or software development life cycle, we have we have put our these thing right. We have put our requirements right. So now we are going to design a factory. Okay, factory layouts, water supply, storages, everything, and we'll try to manufacture our cars. We have planned everything. We have started designing. For that, we need to have some infrastructure. How they will do the infrastructure? How they construct provide this infrastructure? In civil engineering, there is a term called architecture. What is architecture? I'll give my own example, my own definition. That's how I understand architecture. The effective way of providing a design or solution or anything. I'm talking in a civil perspective. Okay, utilizing the resources whatever you have efficiently and put that in a maximum use. Each engineer will perform each step differently. Correct. So some buildings you like, some buildings you don't. Both will be better. We don't know. Similarly, to design our application to get what we want, we need to develop a architecture that is called software application architecture. Okay, this is sort of looks like this in a very layman term or very I can say very high level. Okay, we'll go in depth. So we'll learn about this today, and in depth I'll try to give. There will be a load balancer, agent processors, everything will be there. So those things we'll be seeing in future. Okay. Okay. So first, we know all these things. These are our mobile phones, our systems. This is called client or the end user or the end user. This is also called presentation layer. This is also called presentation layer. So whenever, for example, I am requesting for some mobile phones, okay, or else I am trying to book a flight ticket here to Goa. Correct. So I'm living in Bangalore. From Bangalore to Goa, I want to go. So what I have done, have typed from his Bangalore to his Goa, this timing. Okay. So what it has been done, the request will go through all these elements and it will take the response and all this and it will show in front of us. Within seconds it will show. Within seconds, these are the flights you have. These are the rates. Correct. These are the extra luggage you can carry. Correct. So all these things you can fix your price. All these things will be coming. So to get that result, who and all responsible and what is there in architecture is mainly the client or presentation layer, web server, application server, and database server. Okay, mainly it is I call it as, I don't know whether everyone agree with this or not. A software is nothing but a combination of or a partnership of software and hardware. Correct. For example, if I have a micro, some piece of code in my pen drive, I can't do anything with it. I need to put it in some other server to make it work. Correct. So similarly, here we'll have web server, application, database server. What will happen in web server? What will happen in application server and database also? The majorly the front end elements. The front end elements. For example, you see here. You can see Facebook, right? Blue color, it is aligned in center. Okay, you have this border, you have this text written, you have this blue button, you have r this styling button is in small size here. This box is separated to this color, background color is different, this color is different. All these things will be designed in the webs. All the piece of code which belongs to that will be there in web server. You have heard about these things, right? Front end development and back end development. So people who are working on this developing the front end of the application is called front end developers. They majorly use the HTML, for example, CSS, JavaScript, and frameworks like Angular and React. This for your information, guys, because when you don't have any idea about these things, application, if you go to performance testing after getting a job, you should not uh, tremble, right? You should not get fear about all these elements, right? So that's why we are constructing a story here. Okay, then going to application server. In application server, what we will do is, for example, what is the base, base core business logic. For example, uh, Amazon site. What is the business logic of it? Selling the product. That is the, I mean, they call it as a e-commerce sites. Amazon, Flipkart, Mintra, Agio, Tata, we these things are all e-commerce sites. HDFC, ICICI, mobile banking, all these things are banking domains. um, any other example? So similarly we have all for movie tickets, as we discussed, book my show, all these things. So majorly using you know there are other languages also. They'll try to Java, Python, and Node.js are the major languages that we'll use for developing the application server. Like code into the put the code into application server as a part of the backend development, and Express and Django are the major frameworks. So coming to database, in the name only you have this majorly have contains data, our username, passwords, our credentials. Credentials will be can't be showed share, I mean saved directly. They will be marking up, encrypting, then they'll share. Okay, so all our products, all our order history, everything will be there in database. So for example, you were tracking a order. What will happen? You'll send a request, track my order. It will, you are clicking on the front end, and the business logic will run, and the code will run. It will fetch your order status from here, and then it will go into application layer. It will load, and it will load into the web server in the front end. Then you will see it in the client. Like this, a request will be keep on going and coming, keep on going and coming. So majorly database is to access data, manage data, and to majorly SQL is mainly used for database. It's a query language where you can fetch the data, manage the data, or delete the data. All the things you can do in the database. So you see there is a difference in structure of these two and database. Generally, database is identified in a cylindrical shape. Identified in a cylindrical shape. So that is one thing. For example, I clicked on here login. I have clicked on login button here. This is my system. Okay. All this round trip, how much time it took is called response time, or a round trip. Or a round trip. For example, you are going for Himalayas, starting from your home, going to Himalayas and coming back and stepping your foot inside home. That is all one round trip. Okay. So how much so that is called one round trip. That is, we will also call it as transaction response times or response times. Response times, how, for example, login button, how fast it is responding, that is called response time. Okay, so any doubts here, guys, before we move forward? We'll see LoadRunner also today. We'll try to see. Okay, I take it as no. I'll go forward. So
One question here.
yeah,
So
yeah,
when you
please.
say response time, is it the server response time you're talking about, or it's the client side experience that we are facing?
That is a good question. I actually didn't touch that point. Yeah, thanks for reminding that. So uh, here, whenever we are using performance testing, majorly when they call it as a performance testing, we'll only testing these two elements: application server and database server. Front end we won't test. CSS, JS, HTML, these elements we won't test it. So you can call it as a back end performance testing. We can call it as. When the complication will come, when we include JS or CS front end elements will come. Both combined will do. Front end and back end will do. Only front end will do. Only back end we can do. Okay, but those things are advanced. We'll only first see what is the back end testing we can do. Some will agree, someone will don't agree. It's depending on them, but it's basically the back end. As we are excluding this is what left, right? Yeah, that answered your question.
Yes. So what I understood from your answer is the response time that we are going to consider is the backend response time or the server response time, right?
So, yes. So
Yeah.
this is also a server, basically backend server's response times, basically.
Hmm. All right.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for that question. Actually, I forgot the point. Yeah, that's a good thing to discuss. Yeah. So, uh, uh, we have a lot of tools in the market. So first, the major shareholder is currently is LoadRunner. All the is a licensed version. Actually, it's not with HP now. It's with OpenText. Previously, it was with Micro Focus. Previously, it was HP. Now it is with OpenText. Okay. LoadRunner is a licensed version. Means for us to use the LoadRunner, we need to pay the license. It is free for 50 users. First 50 users, it will be free. You and me can test with 50 users. There is no questions asked. But after 50 users, we need to pay the license. We need to pay the license. Generally, for 50 users, no one will test because 50 users are on any application will handle most of the time. Okay, so who will use LoadRunner is people, majorly people who want their application to be secure, banking domains or payment gateway tests. All these things will be high, big institutes or big companies. They'll use LoadRunner. If the client is bigger, for example, if it is JP Morgan, or else if it is what is a big company, Amazon, you know Facebook, all these things will use load. For example, if they'll be having their own tools, but in market is. Second thing is JMeter. It's open source. It is for the company of not a company. It belongs to Apache company, but it's open source tool. You can download. You can use n number of tools. You can use, sorry, n number of users. Then Neurod is one of the major stakeholder. Gatling also few people will ask, but majorly if you learn LoadRunner, most of the things will be covered. Then JMeter. But for you to learn all the other tools, you need to at least learn one tool. Then other tools are similar. Same settings will be changed. For example, if you have um, Facebook and Instagram, most of the thing what we do is same, but the buttons, the like button, share button, everything will be changed. Okay, those things, those kind of things. Yeah. Next, so we have discussed about software architecture. Now we'll going to discuss about our load runner architecture. Okay, yesterday we saw this. So when I say load runner is not a single component. When I download it, I will get these three components. I'll get these three components. These three components are combined is called load runner. This is Vusion, controller, and analysis. What Vusion does is it will help us to design the test. Third point, design the test. What controller will does, it will help us to do the executions. We'll running our performance testing here. We are designing here, we are testing here. In controller, we will do. In analysis, what we'll do, we'll analyze the results. So these are the three components. Combinedly is called load runner. Combinedly is called load runner. So if you see, using this controller in Vusion, only with one user we can test, or we can run, or we can use Vusion. When we are using Vusion, only one user will be permitted here. Even though there is no option called multiple users, you can't see anywhere. In controller, you can test the same scenario. Right, with 10K people. For example, if you have license in controller, and after the execution test is done, analysis file will be generated. You will start the analyzing. Consider these as virtual users. What are virtual users? Simulated users. That is called virtual users. Those are not real users. That will simulate and will push into the. Will upload this. Will tell these users to work on this application. By doing what? by doing these steps. When they do these steps, the load will be generated on the application. Why these things? Can anyone name these three things? What these three might be? What these three might be? I'm calling it as an application, but what is this thing? Web server, application server, or database server. Okay. So one more point is, when I send a request, the request will flow in the cycle way only. You will go to web, application, and database. But when we are testing, we won't include these things. We won't send this request through our web server. Web server we don't test, right? As we discussed, as someone asked, we won't run this. We directly send the request to the this thing application server. Here, the virtual user, the controller kind of acts as a load simulator. It will simulate the virtual users and it will send to the application server database. Okay, but generally, but every time when I send a request, it will flow from web server to application, application to database, DB to application, application to web server, then to our client or the user. This is the way. It can't directly jump from database to this thing. It will go through application layer. Okay, so yeah. Now we'll, how much time we have? Okay, we will see the definitions tomorrow. So I'll open Vusion. So see guys, so we have discussed of three components, right? So these are the three components. Vusion means virtual user generator. Here we are generating virtual users. Okay, controller, we will be executing analysis, we will be doing. So version 2020 will be using. I think from 2020, the version number is coming as the year number. Previously, it was like 12.70, 12.50, 12.20, something like that. But now it is they are giving year name as that. Okay, this is the variation. Um, yeah. Before that, one small concept I want to tell you. I told in next class also. It's kind of very important how we see the application or how we will do the performance is very important. Okay. When I when I take example of Amazon, right? For example, I'm doing this. Okay, one application. This called application or you in mobiles you will short. I mean, you guys know, but I'm just saying we call it as apps. Application short form is app. Okay, any application when you are using it, what is this application? Why we call it as application, or when it will become an application? When we do or when we load all these pages, or when this particular application consists one or more pages, then only it will call it as a application. And for every application there will be multiple pages, this a page, this a page, this, there will be 100 other pages. Okay, 100 other pages. So that whole thing is called one application. For every page, for every page we have multiple requests, multiple. So why we know these things? Because we are daily doing it, but we don't know about requests, right? For example, I have request 1, request 2, request 3, something like that, and so on. I can have many requests, correct? So for loading this page or to get this page, these requests are responsible. These 5 or 10 requests are responsible for getting this page. Okay, same likewise, these all the applications, all the pages are responsible for this application, or they'll call it as Amazon application based on these pages. One application have multiple pages. Each page will have multiple records. Okay, keep that in mind. So I have come to vision. When I launch it is what it looks. So left side corner. Sorry, my mouse is not working properly. New script and solution. New script and solution. Okay. So yesterday, I mean, previously discussed like launch, login, search. Same thing we're going to record. We're going to record. Before that, I'll manually show you one. So there is one tip here that whenever you get an application, demo application, real time also, do it manually once. Whatever they are telling you. For example, if I am a developer or a manual tester, I'll tell you these guys in office in real time. It will happen like this. Okay, I'll come and show that. I know, guys. See, this is the application. Though this how the home page is. This is the domain or URL. So you should go and first login, do the login. So they will share us the credentials. Password at the rate of one. Yeah, I'm logging in. So you will log in like that. So go and click on here. Click on the speakers. So let it load. Select a new product. Select a new product. Your wish. Manually it is slow. So if I test with 1,000 users, what will happen? Obviously, it will be slow, right? For single reason only, it is slow. With this much of slow. With 100,000 users, it will be slow, obviously. Correct. So you need to observe these things because you can speak about this. Add to cart. Click on it. It will be added to the cart. You need to go and you need to check out. You need to check out. Okay, that's what they'll say. Okay. Similarly, they can see similar flows or similar navigation flows. They'll show a lot of things. This is simple e-commerce website. For our understanding, we are seeing applications can be will become complicated, but the basic will be same. Okay, the basic if it's a two-wheeler, you might be learning Splendor, but the concept for Duke or any Harley Davidson, anything, the concept will be same. Okay, so we'll go for the vision. So whatever we have done manually, we are going to record through LoadRunner. Okay, so demo 30th, right? Okay. Okay. So here we have the protocol. What is this protocol? We have selected Web HTTP HTML protocol. All the applications which build like this in any browser, those are called web applications. Those are called web applications, and they are made with protocol called Web HTTP HTML. We'll talk about protocols in future classes. But what is a protocol? The effective way of the way of communication between two systems. Right. For example, if you go to any pilgrim place, when any or any if Modi is coming to your place, there will be a protocol for him. If CM is crossing the road or going in the traffic, he can't go in the traffic. There is a separate protocol for him. Similarly, we have a protocol in software also where two systems or two entities will communicate, will easily able to communicate. Okay, their own language. So here, those kind of protocol is called Web HTTP HTML protocol. Okay, I'm clicking on create. We have other protocols also. So there is one more advantage of LoadRunner. We have these many protocols. We have these many protocols, but JMeter, we don't have those many protocols. We'll have very few protocols. Some applications will be built in multiple protocols. It's not that they'll be building on only one protocol. They can build in multiple protocols. I don't have real-time examples, but for example, if you're buying a course or something somewhere, right, it will go from your website to some third-party payment. Similarly, when you are coming into this application, it will go into some other protocol in this application itself. So then we'll use two protocols. So whatever we are trying to doing here, it will be captured. Okay, so I'll just go with web HTTP HTML protocol. It's majorly used. All our applications basically will be web HTTP HTML only. Click on create. It will give my working dashboard. One second. Layout. Okay. So this is my interface. So my time will be all I will be spending my time here. So one more small thing I need to tell. Most of your activities will be around these two. Test design. I don't know, cursor you are able to see or not. Test design and test execution. Most of the time. So your efforts, your concentration should be more on this window. Once you done this, your 60 to 70% of your work is done. Okay. Okay. And they'll give the timing also, no problem. But I'm just saying for you. So we have different things here. I'll minimize. Solution untitled. I can rename it, but we'll keep it as it is. My script name, and I have action. I have action, extra files, and something. We'll discuss all everything about it. In action, I have views init action, and views init. We will just record it in action part. If I see views init, you will see this thing. We have three components. In these three components only, we'll try to record. But for now, we'll go with action. We'll discuss those things here. I'm just keeping my cursor here. So whatever I'm capturing, it will come. So I'll click on the record button. This is the record button. So it is not actually it will be like this. I'll give my URL. I'll select my browser and where you need to be recorded, and I'll start recording. There is a I think the action was already okay. I have just entered. No, that's right. Yes, I want to replace it. Yes. Give us 2 times. I think because of class, I think my bandwidth is not supporting. I'll upgrade my plan or try to sit in good environment where I'm getting the this. So whatever we are done manually, we are doing through tool. Correct. It only launched my Edge browser. If you see, it's launched in incognito. Typically, it does. They will open in incognito mode. Let it load. I think yesterday also took time, but I did it yesterday after class and today come before class also. It was working fine. Okay, I think I'm sitting in a remote area. No problem. Uh, we'll discuss about this floating bar now. So this floating bar is our command, or it's a floating bar or elements bar or whatever you can call it. So through this we can do some actions. Through this we can do some actions. If I want to stop the recording, I can stop it. If I want to pause, I can pause it. I can cancel it. I can change the action. Now I'm not going to do it, but I know. If I want to add extra action, we have actions, right? For example, user init action and user run. If I want to create more, I can create. And this is called insert transaction. Insert start transaction and rend users point, comments and anything. So leave everything. These things you can get it. Comments also you can get it. If you want any comments, you can add. So these things we'll see now, especially this transaction. So we'll talk about one new terminology here. We'll talk about a new terminology here. They're simple. So what we called these pages as steps, right? Until now we call it as steps. STEPS. Okay, steps. But in performance testing, we call it as transactions. We call it as transactions. So in real time, what is transaction? I'm sending money to you or you're sending money to anyone. That is called transaction, right? Here, each and every step is called transaction. Each and every step is called transaction. So remember that. Let it load. So while it is loading, While it's loading, I can give you one more point. I mean, similar to this for this transaction only. Consider we have one transaction called login. Okay, what I'll do, don't worry, it will only capture from the Edge browser. It will only capture from Edge browser. Whatever I'll do, it won't record. Okay, so I have transaction, right? It's just coming with me. This floating bar is coming with me, but keep that aside. This once I click on it, what will happen? Transaction will start. Transaction will start. Transaction will start. So once I click on login button, when I go into home page, I'll end this transaction. This will enable. I'll end this transaction. This is called transaction end. Transaction end. So what I'm doing, whatever the request, this will have request now. We discuss R1, R2, R3. Whatever the request are responsible for loading this page, I'll capture between this transaction, between the start transaction and end transaction. Start transaction and end transaction. So with this, what will happen? With this, what will happen? What are the requests responsible for loading this page? I will be able to mark it through this transaction. I'll give names there, so I'll be able to mark it. Second thing, only when I give these transaction names, then only my transaction response times will come for this particular page. That's why we discussed about response times and transaction response times we discussed, if you remember. It will come from here. It will come from here. So the page is loaded. So before starting this thing, we don't have this floating bar now. So what I'll do, I'll start the launch transaction, but launch is already done. I'll close it immediately. Then I'll copy paste it. Okay. Now what I'll do, I will log in now. So I'm starting the transaction, which is this. I'm starting the transaction. Okay. Demo user underscore one. Password at the rate of 1. I have signed in. See, I can see my username. Okay. So while I'm recording, I need to concentrate on two things. One thing is this reload paid. This reload should be completed, and this element should not increase. Now I know all my requests are captured. Okay. I have done the login. Then I will click on. I will click on whatever I'm going to do. I'm just writing it down in simple way that I understand. I clicked on it. See, the URL is also changing. The URL is also changing. So this will be simple application. So you will be seeing this, but real-time application will be complicated. But there will be a reason why I'm saying you to concentrate on URLs also, because it's important. I will discuss in brief time. Okay, same same thing. Well, let it record. Let it record. To save time, I'll just do one more thing for you. Open browser. Click on it. Right click. Inspect element. Inspect element. This is also called developers tool. This is also called developers. Okay. Click on network. Click on network. Then you launch your application. Launch. Now I am doing launch transaction. Okay. Launch. So my page is loading. In real time, you should not do this. I mean, parallel I'm running now. You should not do this in real time. Just for your to save time, I'm just doing it. Okay. So you can see some elements here. You can see some elements, some lines of these things. You can see video slash recorder CSS, CSS. Where we saw CSS? What is CSS? It's a front end element. Are we testing front end elements? No, we are not testing it. So we'll set properties. Set properties. So we should not click on all. All means all the front end elements also will come. We should click, we should select fetch slash etc and doc. We need to check both these two things. Sometimes document you don't get anything, sometimes you will get. Okay, these are the two things you need to get. Okay, it's gone. No, right? Okay. So these each and every element, for example, the service dot properties is called one request. All it's one request. Get account configuration is one request. All these things are responsible for loading this page, as we are discussing. Responsible for loading this page. Okay, still loading. I think launch is done, right? I will just show you what is launch. I'll stop this recording for now. Today, tomorrow, I promise I'll sit in a good network area and we can work on this. Okay, all these things are responsible for holding this. This won't change, guys. This request won't change. N number of times you hit, it won't change. Okay, the first request service or properties, all these things you have, category, all these things. How I know that this request is belongs to my domain? In the URL you have this advantageonlineshopping.com/services. Okay. So we have stopped recording. Now we have this thing. Generally, how it will be there, right? Generally, it will be like this. Generally, it will be like this. We have captured other domains also. We have captured other domains also. Do we bother about this? No. We only bother about our advantageshopping.com. So we'll uncheck this one. Uncheck this one. If it all is there, we'll uncheck this one, this thing, and we'll regenerate. Regenerate means it will remove all the unwanted things and it will generate the script for us. So here we have only one transaction script is there, that is for launch. That is for launch, right? So login also we have. Login also. Click on speakers was not there. So just don't confuse 1 second. So now you can see something called start transaction launch. We discussed about this thing here. We are starting our transaction here, our step or our page here. All these things, all this each and everything is one request. All this request belongs to our launch transaction. Belongs to our launch transaction until here. LR end transaction. We are ending this transaction here. We are ending this transaction here. So we'll see now what is the request. We see what is the request. So you leave everything about this. I'll explain you, or else I'll remove this for your confusion. So let's consider this as one request. So we have multiple requests, right? We also saw in the developers tool. So this is the request, web custom request, and we'll see advantageonlineshopping.com. We can see here, let me come down. Service.properties. Service.properties. We saw this in the developers tool. Service.properties. Okay. Service.properties. I'm coming to the top. This is my request. I have my request name. I have my URL, method, everything, resources, everything. We'll see each and everything in detail in future. Okay. We are not testing CSS elements, no, or Java JS elements. I'll remove these things. I can remove. If I have doubt, I can comment. I can comment. I can comment. I'm selecting it, control slash. It will comment. It will turn into green. It won't execute. It is called I'm commenting. Okay. I'll come down. I'm segregating my requests, my transactions. Okay. I will remove this one also, this one also, or else I'll remove it for the confusion. But why I'm telling you to keep it is, for example, few things you will be needed, but you will be deleting. Then it is very difficult for you to get it back. So commenting it does no harm. So I'm removing these things, but in future I'll show why I'm removing. So you see, PNG image, we don't need images and CSS. I'm removing this. Okay, now we'll see. Now we'll see. So where the request, we saw this request, where we saw the document here, the document here. So again, one more kind of important thing, we are segregating. No, we are going in depth into application. One application will have multiple pages. One page will multiple requests. Now, what does one page will contain? What does one page contains? What does one page contain? Page contains elements like URL, right? There will be URL, right? Then headers, 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 body, or payload, cookies, cookies. Yeah, majorly these things. All these combined will make one request. This is the last fragment will go into any request. These are responsible for becoming one request. Multiple requests will become one transaction or one step, one page. Multiple pages, multiple transactions will make a one application. Okay. Now what I'm doing, I'm validating whatever I'm captured or not. Am I able to capture everything or not? I'm doing. Okay. Now we'll understand the request here. I have my domain name. My transaction name. See, I have my transaction name. This is the transaction name, right? Same thing it is here. I have my URL, same URL, method, get method, and I have headers also. I have two kind of headers: request headers and response headers. First, we need to check only request headers. Once we send the request, then only the response will come. No, we saw here. This is request in purple color or pink color. Yellow color is response. We have requested for latest flights. It checked in the database and it showed us the result as a response. So we can also call this transaction response as a request response time. How much time it took for us to process the request, send the request, process the request, and give back the results. All this time, request response time, is also called transaction response time. Or this transaction response time is also called request response time. Vice versa. Like this, we'll be doing a transaction. So all these things. So I'll be segregating it. See, PNG image I don't need. So how I know, sir? You're simply deleting. How I know? You will be knowing it. Few things. So font is mainly Fenton. No, I'll remove it. But icons are the Fenton, and images icons. Like that, it will be little bit kind of tedious. I'll just remove it quickly for you. If I have doubt, I'll
One
just
question.
yeah, please.
This kind, suppose certain things we are usually not capturing in our script, right? Like the icon or the PNGs. Is there a way to define it during the recording itself so that it does not get recorded?
We are mostly we are not capturing it, but few things will come in the backend capturing as well. It will go with every tool. It depends on application to application. Few applications you won't see this front end. Few applications you will see this front end. I'll be showing few other applications also, right? The demo applications there we won't see those things.
Right.
Okay,
What I
depending on
wanted to
application
know
application.
is there a
Mhm.
way to
No, there is
define
no.
a recording option so that it does not get recorded in the first place?
Even though we do define, it won't sometimes it won't listen, because some requests will coming from the backend also. They'll also get recorded. We should have knowledge of what request we need and what request we don't need.
Hmm.
Then only
Okay.
if we have options, we will be able to use. Yeah. So I have
Okay.
segregated
Okay,
simply.
understood.
Yeah. Yeah. So search category C simply. Now where your concentration is going, only to this transaction names here. I mean request names here you are going. So slowly you guys also getting used to it. If it is small, let me know. I'll make it big. My wait, I'll make it. Yeah. Search .json homepage, all these things. So I'll go here. Let me check home dot. I mean homepage HTML categories search. There is a search all these things we are getting it. So I'll go and I'll do the login now. So Facebook is our domain, no, right? Even though the URL is here, it is ping. So now I'm segregating to this. So I'll delete this one. Okay. So we have totally two requests. Only two requests we have. Okay. So we have entered our username password also, right? It will be there in login. Where we entered in login page, we have this. This is the login page. We are starting the login page here. We are ending the login page here. Where it is, it will be. I'll search it. What was my username? Demo user underscore one. Okay, I'll search. In line 100, where it is, I'll go left. In the login page only, I'm showing this in between username, login user, my username, between password tags. This is in HTML format. This HTML format. In this login password, I have my password. If I give if you create one new user, if you give me your username and password, I will put it here. And whatever product I'm selecting, it will be booked in your particular account. We can be done. So, is it possible to do this kind of thing with every application? For example, any Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, it's not possible because they are production websites. Okay, there will be a lot of security. For our practice purpose, these people generously gave this application advantage onlineshopping.com people. Okay, or any other demo websites. So whenever you're testing, you should not test these applications with thousands of hundreds of users. You should respect their resources because they can't pour petrol for our when we are roaming, right? Similarly, if you put lot of users here, this application will crash. Why they want to put money for us to practice? Correct. So don't, it's not ethically correct. Don't put lot of users. You just put like 5 or 4 users. That will be fine. It will be enough. That will be enough. So, sir, we have recorded successfully. For example, if the bandwidth is good, we'll be able to record the login, add to cart or buy the product. So, yesterday you said if I click this replay button, everything will run and my product will be booked automatically. That there will be a question like that. It won't happen like that. Yes, we have captured this request. For this request to work properly, we need to enhance this. Means there will be few challenges or few things we are going to do to this particular script. This particular script we are going to do something. Those are called, we are going to see that in tomorrow's class. Those are called enhancements. Those are called enhancements. or script enhancements. Enhancements like correlation, parameterization, error handling, debugging. This is the topics for Vusion, guys. File operations and page verification. Page verification. Using these steps, using these steps, we will make our script or will make our LoadRunner script reusable, reusable for multiple users. So these are the challenges or these are the steps we'll be going to face while we are doing the scripting. I've said no, 70% of your efforts will be coming here only because of these things. Because of these things. Okay. Whatever you do, your whole performance testing career will revolve around these things. These 7 or 8 steps. Whatever you do, your design phase will revolve around these things. For layman, I can tell you one tip. For performance testing, you need to have a logical mind. You should think about logics. I'll explain you future. You'll only get how logical it will be. You'll keep it analytical or logical mind. You need to keep it. Okay. So correlation. These are the topics, guys. These are the topics which we are going to learn as part of test design. As part of test design, also called as script development or script enhancements. So today we have completed one step that is called script recording. Tomorrow also we'll do that first thing in tomorrow's class. Script recording. How we
Sorry
did
to
the
interrupt,
script recording?
Vamsi,
Yeah, please.
but,
Yeah.
but before proceeding tomorrow for all these points like correlation and other things, regarding
Hmm.
installation and all, like how we can do it, like who can help us, like what
Uh,
is the software
uh,
like?
yes. Let this week go on. Let this week I'll be doing the I'll be teaching all the theoretical part and basics. After that, I will give you the application itself. Then you can install over the weekend, and from next Monday we can start practicing.
Okay, how we can, I mean, is it like, there will be any link where actually we will be
There
finding
will be
this?
a Google Drive link I will be sharing with you guys. You can download it from there. It will be a 3 GB or a hard file, 3 GB odd GB. It will be there. You can download it from there.
And it will work on Windows 10 and 11. I mean, Windows 10 is also fine, the operating system.
Sorry, come again. Sorry.
I mean, that software, like, there will be different version of the LoadRunner software, right? But which version we should
Yeah,
install for our practicing and
I mean, install whatever I'm using. That will be fine. See,
what
even
is the,
versions, there won't be yeah, major difference will be there between any version.
yeah, so what is the current, I mean, version that you have
Current version
installed?
what we are using is 202 2022 2022 version we are using.
Okay.
Okay. So what we have done today, we have done the recording of the script. So in the test design phase, can you? Okay. In the test design phase, we have completed the script recording. So we have just I not completed, just have an idea on script recording. Then we'll be doing script enhancements. If we do these two things, if we do these two things, our test design will be done. Then we'll go to the execution. Okay. Analysis and these things I'll teach you at the end because all the concepts you will be knowing in it. Then we'll go to the further class. So this week what I'll do, I'll plan a session like 50% it will be a theory part. Before you getting bored, 50% you will have a practical part so that it will be balanced. Okay, guys. Okay. I'll stop recording now.